What's up, Broncos country? Look, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now because what happened at Empower Field at Mile High is going into the NFL history books. I'm serious. If you missed this game, brace yourself because what I'm about to tell you will give you chills. Sunday, November 16th, 2025. Mark this date on your calendar, family, because that was the day the Denver Broncos didn't just win, didn't just overcome, but literally destroyed any remaining hope the Chiefs had in the AFC West race. Final score? 22-19 for our beloved team. But trust me when I say that number doesn't tell even half of what really went down on that field. Before we dive headfirst into all this craziness, I need to make a strategic pause here. Because if you're true Broncos country, if you bleed orange and blue like me, you can't miss any play of this historic season. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Hit that bell because every week there's fresh content about our team. And then come back here because we've got a lot to break down about this epic game. Now let's get to the facts. Broncos country. Let's put all this in context before I explode with emotion here. The Chiefs were coming off a bye week. That's right, 2 full weeks to study our team, to prepare plays, to try to figure out how to stop this orange and blue machine that hasn't lost in 8 straight games. And I'm not talking about just any team. I'm talking about Andy Reid's Chiefs, a guy who has an absurd record of 27 wins and only 5 losses after bye weeks in his career, 27-5. It's scary when you think about it. And there's more. These guys have dominated the AFC West since 2016. That's right. 9 straight years taking the division. 9 years of absolute supremacy. 9 years doing whatever they wanted with all their rivals. And then you look at our Denver Broncos, who were 9-2, leading the division for the first time in forever, and you think, can we handle the pressure? Let me tell you something, family. We didn't just handle the pressure, we loved the pressure. We embraced the pressure. And we showed everyone watching that this 2025 team is different. It's a team that knows how to win close games, a team that doesn't tremble when the situation gets tense, a team that has grit, has heart, has that winning DNA that had been dormant for so long. Let's go to the first quarter. Broncos country, our offense started hot. 14 plays on the first possession, moving the chains, controlling the clock, showing Andy Reid and company that we didn't come to play around. But then their defense managed to hold in the red zone, and we had to settle for a Will Lutz field goal. 3-0 on the scoreboard. And that's when the magic started to happen. Because next, our defense, this monster defense that leads the entire league in sacks, forced a quick 3-and-out on the Chiefs. They tried but couldn't do it. And then comes the moment that made the entire stadium explode. Marvin Mims Jr., this kid who had been out for 2 weeks because of a concussion, came back hungry. The punt came, the ball landed in his arms, and 70 yards of pure speed, pure technique, taking the ball to the Chiefs' 10-yard line. Empower Field at Mile High shook, Broncos country. Really shook. The crowd went crazy because everyone knew that was the chance to open up an important lead early in the game. But look, the Chiefs' red zone defense showed up strong at that moment. They held again, and we had to accept another field goal. 6-0 on the scoreboard, 2 field goals in 2 possessions. And I know what a lot of people were thinking at that time. Are we going to be able to turn these opportunities into touchdowns? Because against a team like the Chiefs, you can't leave points on the table, right? The first quarter ended like that, with us up by 6-0, controlling the game, but knowing we needed to do more. Because on the other side was a quarterback who needs no introduction, who's already won 3 Super Bowls, who's known for working miracles when the game is tight. Second quarter was tense, family, very tense. The Chiefs had a monster drive of 17 plays that ate up 10 minutes of the clock. 10 minutes. That's almost half the entire quarter. They methodically moved the chains, converting third downs, playing that possession game Andy Reid loves. But you know what happened in the end? Nothing. Our defense held with tooth and nail. And at the end of the second quarter, with the Chiefs trying to at least put a field goal on the board, Before halftime, our secondary showed up huge, several incomplete passes in a row, and then came the second sack of the game on their quarterback. The clock hit 0 with the score still 6-0. Halftime arrived and the locker room vibe must have been electric because everyone knew we were holding the best offense in the conference. Third quarter starts, and then comes that moment that all Denver Broncos fans will remember for the rest of their lives, and not for the right reasons, unfortunately. Jahdae Barron makes a beautiful interception and runs to the end zone. Pick 6. The house comes down. Everything perfect. It was going to be 13-6 on the scoreboard. Game basically over, Chiefs desperate. But then Broncos country, that's when that thing everyone hates in football comes in, the yellow flags. They called an illegal contact on Riley Moss that, look, I'll be honest with you, was very questionable. One of those penalties you watch on replay 10 times and can't really understand. Touchdown called back. Mood completely changed. And you know who woke up after that? The Chiefs. It's like that penalty injected new life into them. On the next play, a bomb for 61 yards to Tyquan Thornton. 61 yards. The biggest completed pass our defense had allowed all season up to that point. 3 plays later, Kareem Hunt entering the end zone from 1 yard out. First Chiefs touchdown playing in Denver in over 11 quarters. Think about that. 11 quarters without scoring a touchdown here, and then they do it right after having a pick 6 called back in their favor. But our team didn't hang their heads, family. That's what makes this 2025 group different. Bo Nix, this kid who still has critics, and look, I'll never understand these critics because the boy just delivers results, commanded a beautiful drive. And then there's that play that turned the game back to our side. Bo launches a bomb for 48 yards to Pat Bryant, who makes an absurd catch. 48 yards at a crucial moment in the game. That gave energy to the entire offense. The chain started moving again. And at the start of the fourth quarter, another Will Lutz field goal. 16-13 for us. 3-point lead in a game everyone knew would be decided by details. And that's when the emotional roller coaster began, Broncos country, because the Chiefs aren't back-to-back champions for nothing. They have a quarterback who knows how to work magic, a legendary tight end, a coach who's seen everything in this league, and they started responding. 3rd and 19 for them, 3rd and 19. Any defense in the NFL feels confident in a situation like that. But then comes another controversial play, pass interference on Riley Moss, 46 yards of penalty. 46. Suddenly, the Chiefs had the ball on our 29-yard line. And look, I'm going to say something that will generate debate here in the comments. That play was very questionable. The pass was completely out of reach, but they still called it. Result? Touchdown for them. And it wasn't just any touchdown. It was to Travis Kelce, who with that reception became the Chiefs franchise's all-time leading scorer with 84 touchdowns, passing Priest Holmes. History being made, but on the wrong side for us. 19-16 for the Chiefs. First and only time they led the score in the entire game. But then, family, that's when you see why this team is special. The extra point was blocked by Frank Crum, 19-16 instead of 20-16. One little point that would make all the difference in the end. Bo Nix and the offense came back on the field after their touchdown, and you know what happened? 3 and out. We couldn't do absolutely anything. Punt. And everyone thinking, did we let the chance slip away? Are the Chiefs going to close the coffin now? But this defense, Broncos country, this defense, Jaquan McMillian, a cornerback who was only playing because Pat Surtain II is injured, decided to become a hero. 3rd and long for the Chiefs, and he comes with a suicide blitz, takes down their quarterback, and forces another 3 and out. McMillian's second sack in the game. Second time, he saved us in a decisive moment. Ball back to Bo Nix with 6.5 minutes on the clock. The entire house on their feet. Everyone knowing this was the drive. Now or never. And our rookie quarterback, this kid who's 24 years old, took command like a 10-year league veteran. First, 5-yard pass to Pat Bryant. Second, where's the holding penalty? Yeah, they called it against us. Situation got bad. 1st and 20, and then Bo makes that desperation play, throws the ball to Troy Franklin in a situation everyone thought would be an interception, and incomplete. Thank heavens. But look what happens next, family. 3rd and 15, desperate situation, and Bo finds Cortland Sutton, our veteran receiver, our captain, for a reception of 20 yards. First down converted at the most critical moment of the game. Sutton kept working the route. Bo had patience in the pocket, stepped up, and made the perfect throw. And then comes that special connection, that duo that's known each other since college, Bo Nix and Troy Franklin. 2nd and 8, and Bo throws 32 yards to Franklin, who sticks the catch. Suddenly, we were on the Chiefs' 15-yard line, 1 minute on the clock, field goal range. And everyone remembering what had happened last year in this same situation. Because let me tell you something you need to know about Will Lutz. Last year at Arrowhead Stadium, he attempted a last-second field goal to beat the Chiefs. The ball was blocked, game lost, season almost destroyed right there. And now he was there again, 35 yards, chance to redeem that moment, chance to be the hero. And what did he do? He nailed it right through the uprights, 22-19, 56 seconds on the clock, but everyone knew it was over. Our defense wasn't going to let them work any miracles. Victory number 8 in a row, Broncos country, 8 straight, 9 wins and 2 losses on the season, absolute leadership of the AFC West. The Chiefs were left behind with 5 wins and 5 losses, 3 games behind us in the standings. 3 games, and the regular season isn't even over yet. Now let's talk about the absurd numbers from this game, because they tell an important part of this whole saga. Bo Nix may not have thrown any touchdowns, and yes, that bothers me a bit, but the kid was clutch when he needed to be. 750 passing yards in the 4th quarter throughout the entire season, a 4th best in the entire league in that category. He may be inconsistent sometimes, may have highs and lows in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd quarters, but when the game is on the line, when the pressure increases, he shows up. And this defense, my goodness, this defense, 48 sacks on the season through Week 10. 48! More than any other team since the 1989 Vikings. In Sunday's game, there were only 3 official sacks, but the pass rush impact was gigantic. 5 holding penalties called against the Chiefs' offensive line. We only accepted 3 of them. 2 false starts, 1 illegal use of hands, 1 illegal shift, constant pressure-forced errors all game long. And there's that number that's simply ridiculous. It's so impressive. 7 wins and 2 losses in games decided by 1 possession. 7 wins! We're living through a season of close games, and this team knows how to win when the score is tight. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are 0-5 in one-possession games this season. 0-5, a year after going 12-0 in those situations last season. It's a complete role reversal. Vance Joseph deserves a paragraph just for him, Broncos country. Our defensive coordinator is doing work that's going to guarantee him a head coaching job somewhere next year. You can write it down. The guy is brilliant. He studied every move of that Chiefs quarterback, limited him to just 3 touchdowns in 4 games since coming back to Denver as coordinator. And that blitz call for Jaquan McMillian on 3rd and 10? One of the boldest decisions of the entire season. Putting a cornerback to blitz at a moment like that? You need courage and intelligence, and it worked perfectly. Sean Payton also showed the confidence he has in this defense. There was a moment in the 4th quarter where they called holding on the Chiefs that would give them 2nd and 19 if the penalty was accepted. And you know what Payton did? Declined it. Preferred to leave it at 3rd and 9 because he trusted the defense would hold anyway. That's confidence. That's knowing you have an elite defensive unit. And I can't forget to mention Marvin Mims Jr. This kid came back from a concussion and made that 70-yard punt return right in the 1st quarter. 70 yards. Then he was kind of quiet in the game, but came back strong at the decisive moment with that 24-yard return that put us near midfield on the final drive. Special teams making a difference when we needed it most. Jaquan McMillian, absolute hero. 6 tackles, 2 for loss, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, 1 pass breakup, 1 interception. All that from a cornerback who was only on the field because Pat Surtain is injured. This shows the depth of this roster. We have players who can come in and make a difference when called upon. Now let's address the elephant in the room that some Chiefs fans will want to use as an excuse, the controversial officiating. And look, I'll be honest with you, Broncos country. Were there questionable calls? Yes. That called back pick 6 was painful. That 46-yard pass interference was very, very questionable. But you know what? Every game has controversial calls. Every game has penalties you agree with and others you don't. What's important is that in the end, the team that deserved to win won, because it was our pass rush that dominated. It was our quarterback who was clutch in decisive moments. It was our defense that forced the Chiefs to make mistakes after mistakes. It was our kicker who hit 5 field goals, including one from 54 yards to tie the game, and then that 35-yarder that decided everything. And there's another interesting detail about this whole victory, family. We've won 11 straight games at Empower Field at Mile High. 11. We haven't lost at home since October 2024. And against the Chiefs specifically, that's 3 consecutive wins playing here. Empower Field has become a fortress. Opposing teams are afraid to play here. The altitude, the fanatic crowd, the field where we dominate, all of that counts. So let's pause here to talk about the bigger context of this victory. For almost a decade, the Chiefs did whatever they wanted with the AFC West. They won 9 straight divisions. 9. They'd come into games against us with that absolute confidence they'd win anyway. And we, on our side, had to accept being the team that fights for a wild card spot, that hopes to get a little playoff berth, that never had a real chance to compete for the division. But 2025 is different Broncos country. This team has hunger. This team has talent. This team has a young quarterback who's growing with each game, has a defense that might be the best in the league, has a coach who's already won a Super Bowl and knows exactly what needs to be done to build a contender. 9 wins and 2 losses after 11 games. When was the last time we had a season start like this? It's been years, family, many years, and it's not just winning, it's how we're winning. Close games, we win. Games against tough teams, we win. Home games, we win. Games where the opponent had 2 weeks to prepare, we win. This victory against the Chiefs wasn't just another victory. It was a statement. It was us telling the rest of the league, the Denver Broncos are back. We're no longer that team that accepts being second place in the division. We're no longer that team that's content fighting for a wild card. We want to dominate. We want to be feared. We want to go back to being that Denver Broncos that won 3 Super Bowls in franchise history. And look at the division situation now, Broncos country. We're at 9-2. The Chargers are at 7-4, 2 games back. The Chiefs are at 5-5, 3 games back. 3. And there are still 6 games left to play in the regular season. If we continue at this pace, if we can maintain this level of intensity and focus, the AFC West is ours. For the first time since 2015, the AFC West will have a champion other than the Chiefs. Now, of course, nothing is guaranteed yet. We have a bye week now to rest, recover from injuries, adjust what needs to be adjusted. Pat Surtain needs to come back because having him in the secondary makes a gigantic difference. Some players will be able to treat minor injuries that were bothering them. And then we come back on November 30th to face the Commanders on the road. Bo Nix needs to improve on touchdown conversion in the red zone. That's undeniable. 5 field goals in a game is good, but we need to cross that goal line and put 6 points on the board each time. Because against truly elite teams in the playoffs, field goals won't always be enough. We need to be more lethal near the end zone. The offensive line had some problems too. Bo took a few sacks that could have been avoided. And look, we're one of the teams that suffers the fewest sacks in the league, tied for second place with only 11 sacks allowed all season through Week 10. So when we took 2 sacks right on the first drive, that got attention. Need to improve. And there were those Troy Franklin drops in the first half that could have completely changed the game if he'd held onto the balls. He redeemed himself in the end with that crucial 32-yard reception. But you can't waste opportunities like that against high-level teams. But even with these problems, even with these issues that need to be worked on, the most important thing is that we found a way to win. Because in the end, that's what matters. Doesn't matter if it was pretty or ugly, if it was by 1 point or 20. A win is a win, and this one was huge. Think about the psychological impact of all this, family. The Chiefs now have to look in the mirror and ask themselves, are we still capable? Can we turn this situation around? 5-5 is a mediocre record for a team that's used to dominating. They can still make the playoffs as a wild card, of course. But then they'll have to play wild card weekend instead of having a bye. They'll have to go on the road in the playoffs instead of playing at home. All that comfort they had in recent years, over. And us? We have control of our destiny in our own hands. If we win our games, we're division champions. Simple as that. We don't need to root for anyone to lose. We don't need to do crazy tiebreaker calculations. Just win, and that's it. The next opponents? Commanders, Browns, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, and Chiefs again to close out the season. All games we can win. All. None of these teams are unbeatable. And if we maintain this defensive level, if Bo continues being clutch in fourth quarters, if special teams keep making important plays, we'll get to the playoffs with total momentum. And momentum is everything in the playoffs Broncos country. It's the difference between being just another team that qualified and being a real title contender. This team has a winning mentality now. These players believe they can win any game against any opponent in any situation. And that belief, that confidence, is contagious. So let's recap everything that happened on that historic Sunday afternoon. The Chiefs came to Denver after 2 weeks of preparation, with Andy Reid's absurd bye-week record, with all the confidence of those who dominated the division for 9 straight years. And we didn't just win, we dominated. We dictated the game's pace. We made them commit penalties after penalties because of constant pressure. We kept their quarterback without room to run and make those magic plays he always makes. And at the decisive moment, when everything was on the line, when the game could go either way, it was our team that stepped up. It was Bo Nix who commanded that perfect final drive. It was Courtland Sutton who converted 3rd and 15. It was Troy Franklin who made that 32-yard reception. It was Will Lutz who hit the game-winning field goal. This is the magic of football, family. 48 sacks on defense during the season, 7 wins in 9 games decided by 1 possession. A rookie quarterback who may be inconsistent in the first 3 quarters, but who becomes a monster in the 4th quarter. A defensive coordinator who's doing such good work that other teams already have their eyes on him. A head coach who knows exactly how to build a winning team. Now we go into the bye week, but we can't relax, because up ahead there's still a lot of work to do. Still 6 games to win, still a division to conquer, still playoffs ahead. And who knows if everything goes right, if we keep playing at this level, who knows if we don't make a special playoff run too. But one thing at a time, Broncos country. For today, let's celebrate. Let's commemorate this monumental victory. Let's enjoy the fact that we're ahead in the division with room to spare. Let's appreciate that the Chiefs, that team that tormented us for so long, is looking up at us from below in the standings. Because days like this don't happen all the time. Victories like this don't fall from the sky. We worked hard to get here. We sweated, bled, fought for every yard on this field, and now we're reaping the fruits of all that effort. So I want to know from you, Denver Broncos family, what did you think of this victory? Do you believe this team can go far in the playoffs? Do you think Bo Nix is finally showing he can be the franchise quarterback for the next 10, 15 years? Do you think this defense is capable of taking us to the Super Bowl? Comment below everything you're feeling. Drop that like to boost the algorithm and spread this good news to all of Broncos country. Share it with that friend of yours who's also a Denver Broncos fanatic. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, go ahead and hit that red button because every week there's a new video about our beloved team. And look, before we wrap up here, I need to say something. This season is being special. Very special. After so many years of suffering, of watching other teams dominating our division, of finishing the season in 3rd or 4th place, we're finally back on top. We're finally making other teams respect us again. Finally, the Denver Broncos is back to being a real threat in the AFC, and this is just the beginning, family. Just the beginning. With a young quarterback who's learning and improving every week, with a defense that's one of the best in the league, with a coach who's already proven he knows how to win, the sky's the limit for this team. There's no ceiling, no limit. We can go as far as we want. So enjoy this bye week to rest too, to recharge your batteries, because when we come back on November 30th against the Commanders, it'll be another battle. It'll be another test. It'll be another opportunity to prove to the entire world that the Denver Broncos are back. Broncos country, this was the most important victory of our season so far. But I'm absolutely certain there are many more ahead, many more achievements, many more moments to celebrate together, because this team is special. This team has something different. This team can make history. So stay tuned to the channel because every week there's analysis, there's opinion, there's debate, there's everything you need to know about our Denver Broncos. And let's go together on this journey toward the playoffs, and who knows, God willing, and if the defense keeps playing at this level, toward the Super Bowl. A big hug to the entire Denver Broncos family, and see you next time. Go Broncos!